Gosh, I can!
Me too, Mickey!
We are Mulch, Sweat, and Shears!
Calling Dick Tracy. The Bolognian diamond has just been stolen from the museum.
Just wait till you see it in a bright new way, one light at a time.
And thanks to all of you. We'll see you after the show. All right, here we go!
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 544. And I'm here once again, not only to help you have the best vacation experience when you go to the parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are, not just with the podcast, but with my live broadcast on Facebook every Wednesday night, videos, blogs, books, audio tours, special events, and more. You can find everything over at WDWRadio.com. So I'm going to open up the inbox this week and answer more of your questions, but with a little bit of a twist. Topics are going to include Blue Sky designing a Disney restaurant, and yes, I'm going to look for your input and ideas. Movies you really should, dare I say, need to watch before visiting Walt Disney World, Main Street USA music, tips on flying. I don't mean you actually flying, I mean flying to Walt Disney World, transportation options, and a Q&A lightning round. Then I'm going to have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week, and I'll pose a new challenge for your chance to win a Disney Prize package and a WDW Radio t-shirt. Then I'll have more information at the end of the show, including details about our next Meet of the Month in Walt Disney World. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. If you've ever heard me speak, I don't mean speak like here on the show, but at a keynote or a presentation or at my Momentum conference, you'll invariably hear me talk about the why. And I'm not going to go into it too much here, but I think it's an incredibly important and powerful word, and I practice what I preach, even and really especially here on the show. And you, listener, my friend, you are my why, as in why I do what I do, why I get up excited to work every day, why I can't fall asleep sometimes because I'm thinking about new ideas, why I do Meet of the Months and cruises and events, and why I do the live show on Wednesday nights. It's why I created the nation, and why overall I want to do and create and talk about things that simply make you happy about Walt Disney World and hopefully have a positive impact on you, your day, and maybe even in your life. And it's also why I want you to be a part of the show and everything that I do, and why I love meeting you and hearing from you and the handshakes and the hugs and answering your questions, just like we're going to do this week. And somebody else who very often has me asking why for so many reasons is Becky Menken. She is the owner, CEO, CFO, CTO, GRO, IMHO, PPO, HBO, CVS, M&M, and WD-40 of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel.
Why?
You know,
I can't help it. All of a sudden I have the question why in my head for some strange reason, and I have no idea why.
If you're asking why now, you're going to ask why even more so in a few minutes, because look, I love doing these, and I love when questions are about food. It's not my idea, but they're my favorites. And this week, we're going to do something that I know you're going to be like, really, Mangello, why? We're going to do something in the 11 years or so that we've been answering emails. Usually, it's so let's sort of pull back the curtain a little bit. Usually what happens is I'll go into the inbox. I'll grab 15, 20 questions or so. I'll put them into a document.
About 12 of them are about food, I know.
Right. Again, it's the nature of the beast. And we don't talk about them ahead of time, but I give them to you so we can look at them and sort of if there's any research. This week, we're throwing all that out the window. And we'll say a little silent prayer before we get started, because this week we're going to do something completely different. I'm literally going to close my eyes and reach into the mailbag, and just whatever comes up, whatever comes out, that's what we're going to answer. Now, you had some choice words for me.
Why beforehand is definitely coming into play right now.
You had some very choice words for me that do not bear repeating at this time, but I believe in you, I trust in you, and more importantly, I think this will be a lot of fun too.
Why?
I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to totally trust you. I know, knowing you, probably 80% of them will have something to do about food. So I am pretty well versed in that.
Possibly.
I think we're going to be okay.
And I think this is going to give us and you and me hopefully a chance to get a little creative and just sort of think off the top of our heads and see what comes out.
That's a scary thought right there.
By the way, notice that I'm not doing this live. Notice that I don't trust us enough to do it actually live. There's always an editing process that can and probably will take place, but we're just going to wing it and see, because some of the things hopefully will be opinion. I'm just praying, Becky, that all the questions are about the boathouse.
You do yum. You do realize that we haven't done one of these shows since October of last year. I know. There's always life gets in the way. Up here it to is. Do. It is. And you're wondering, why I give you so much
what was that?
Grief. Notice how I picked a word out of the air that was family friendly. Grief.
Well, even as we started recording, I'm like, you sound different. And you're like, no, we just haven't done this in a long time. So
pretty much. Yeah. See, that kind of shows you have no idea what's going on in my life. We haven't caught up in a while. There's so much to talk about. So many plans we have to create.
All right. Well, so listen, again, this is going to be luck of the draw, completely random. I have so many questions to get to. And again, if you have ever sent me a question, I promise it's in the inbox. It's just a matter of us get it.
I have one really fast.
Go ahead, shoot.
Why don't we do this more often so that there wouldn't be so many emails in the inbox?
Listen, that's a question that does not bear answering on this show.
Come on, it's the first one. Answer it, Lou. You got this.
Here it goes. I'm reaching in. I am reaching in, and again, make a little sign of the cross or whatever you have to do over there to hope that this is something that we can.
I'm going to go get some wine. I'll be right back.
Okay. So the first question has no name, and it says, "So Lou, here's a blue sky question of the day for you." And it's right up your alley. And look, the fates have shined upon us. It's right up your alley and can't say boathouse. But if you could design, this is great. If you could design a Disney restaurant, what does it look like, theming and backstory, and what's on the menu? So this is a complete opinion question. So the emailer says, this is actually really good too. My personal answer, this is the author saying, is the villain's concoctionary. Now, Becky, this is right up your alley. It's themed dark, like you, with cauldrons, like your kitchen, and rock formations, almost like the Black Cauldron meets Cheers. The beers and drinks are named after villains, from the Hades Ghost Pepper Stout to the Wicked Queen Hard Apple Cider. And yes, the Black Cauldron meets Cheers is something never before uttered in a sentence before. I'm hoping for a June meet of the month. The family and little Ben will be making the journey from Chicago. That is a phenomenal question. I completely and totally dig that for so many reasons. And because you are my friend, because ladies first, and because I haven't thought of my answer yet, I'm going to let you go first.
See, and that's what's going to happen.
I'm sorry. It's Dan Mulca. This is from Dan Mulca.
Okay, this is one of those incredibly great questions that makes you have to really get creative and think it through, which normally if I had some time, I would be brilliant at this whole idea. But, immediately, anytime you ask questions like that about what would you want to see in terms of a types of restaurant or a lounge or some sort of experience. And immediately I go to the two things that I would love the most. And sadly, my brain kind of goes to a place that we've kind of already been before, because you know me, I am very focused and my attention is very laser pinned on SEA.
Mm-hmm.
So between something like that had that adventurer spirit and something that was going on behind the scenes telling a story, I would love to see something like that. Or, because I can't always answer just one thing, I've always wanted to see something that was a little bit more themed around the story of the Haunted Mansion.
So I think Haunted Mansion would be killer, right?
Yeah.
No pun intended. Haunted Mansion would absolutely, if you think you have a tough time getting into Be Our Guest, try getting into the Haunted Mansion themed restaurant.
See, how cool would that be, though, to have different rooms within the Haunted Mansion? I'm kind of thinking of a mashup between the Magic Castle and Adventurers Club and the Haunted Mansion itself, and just have these different rooms with different theming, and how people would disappear and reappear, or how some ghosts could just walk through the rooms. And there's so many things that could be done with something like that, with a venue of that nature.
Yeah. And again, it's, breakfast might be odd there, but dinner, nighttime dinners would be phenomenal. And so you mentioned the SEA. So for those of you who don't know, the SEA is the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And this is something we've talked about in the past. I'm going to do an entire show about the stories and the characters and how sort of all the attractions are tied together. But this is really something that includes characters like Lord Henry Mystic, right, from Mystic Manor in Hong Kong, Barnabas Bullion from Tokyo Disneyland, Misadventure Falls, right, most recently. Yeah, so Dr. Albert Falls here at Jungle Cruise. And it's all of these adventurers and explorers that share stories from around the world. It's very much is tied into the Skipper Canteen in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, that it we've already kind of have that, because the Skipper Canteen, and of course we had Adventures Club at one point. But could you imagine each one of the different adventures having their own sections where the story of the places they've been could be weaved within the different rooms?
Well, and imagine if you integrate something like the Adventurers Club, where it all got started, and you have some of those walk-around characters interacting with guests, not like it's an actual show, but you have those characters, So, for example, we see this recently in places like Disney Cruise Line. I think it's done very well, where during seatings at Rapunzel's royal table or Tiana's, you'll have the characters coming around to the tables and interacting a little bit, almost sort of putting on a little bit of a show, but in a way so that there still will be turnover, so people don't sit there just for hours, which when we talk about the SEA is sort of what kind of killed the people that love the Adventures Club, killed the Adventures Club, because they just sat there all night and didn't weren't necessarily buying anything, and there was no turnover. I think that's a phenomenal idea. We already see how well I think it works in a very small way in places like Skipper Canteen. When I started to read the question, my mind was jumping all over the place. I think the Villains Concoctionary is a brilliant idea, Dan, and that we've talked about the Fifth Gate being a villain's park, and there was going to be Fire Mountain. There is a love for the bad guys, as the old Marvel Comics used to say, bring on the bad guys. There is definitely something to that in terms of a fun theme. For me, my mind was sort of racing through classic Disney films, some of the more modern ones. Is it something new? Is it not necessarily based on an IP? Do you bring something? I think we've talked in the past how I believe Tomorrowland is about to undergo a metamorphosis. I'm not even going to call it a change. I think Tron is going to be the first part, sort of the major new puzzle piece that's going to usher that in. Then I thought of sort of an end of Tron themed, end of line club type restaurant. I've talked about that in the past, but I could not help, because I look around my room as I'm talking to you, and Marvel is what sort of jumped into my head. And I think this is what 7-year-old, 50-year-old Lou Mangello would love to have, is some sort of a Marvel-themed dining experience. Again, a lot of a lot of pawns have to be moved around in order for that to happen here in Walt Disney World. But imagine, I'm not talking about shawarma in New York City at the end of the original Avengers. I mean, something that is themed to the Avengers headquarters or some of the different characters, especially with a lot of the things that are starting to happen this year and this summer with Endgame, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, and what this next phase of the Marvel Universe is going to be, and some of the additional characters I think we're going to be introduced to and have access to. Again, a Marvel-themed, I don't know where I would put it yet.
Could you imagine how, all right, I keep going back to that walkthrough that we did in Hong Kong, which was just so mind-blowing. What if that was a progressive dinner? You could go to all of those different locations where you're in the Agents of Shield base, and then you move to the different locations that we were. That would be kind of cool.
I'm going to circle back for a second because I just was thinking to your suggestion about the SEA. And it made me remember, we talked about this a long time. I can't even direct you to what show it is. But maybe when I was giving a Wayback Machine on Tomorrowland, there was originally a concept for Tomorrowland. So where the Tomorrowland Terrace currently sits, that building, and if you look, there's sort of a dome on top. That was supposed to be, this is all coming back to me now. This is what happens when you get old. That was supposed to be an explorers club where exactly what we were talking about was supposed to happen, which was there were supposed to be, it was going to be Galileo, but it was going to be real people from history, not fictional characters. So Galileo and other astronomers and people who had important discoveries throughout history would be some of those walk around characters in this original thing. Part of the problem is exactly what I had talked about, which was, how do you keep guests moving through without sort of just sitting there all day, enjoying all of the characters? I mean, there were other issues with it, but there were plans. There was, because on top of where that dome was supposed to be a giant telescope. So almost think, if you've been to Planet Hollywood here in Walt Disney World, since the refurbishment, they have that sort of giant telescope inside the building. There was going to be a giant telescope on the outside of that building. And I know I've talked about this on the show before, and maybe when I talk about the SEA, I can talk a little bit more about that. But there you go. So a great idea never dies, and obviously it's something that we think would still happen again.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because this was very much going to be, it wasn't, the SEA is obviously all the characters are fictional, but here, this was going to be about this, more Victorian era steampunk Jules Verne type of thing, as opposed to fictional characters from this SEA, which obviously hadn't been conceived as yet.
Right. Which, when you said that took me back to the fortress. Remember the big fortress with the constellation all over the ceiling and down the walls, and how cool was that? Yeah.
I think there was also a similar concept for Disneyland. I'll have to sort of dust off the old books and do a little bit more research. But yeah, so I would love to see, and I think this is a really interesting question too for listeners, in terms of, if you could design, I'll post this in the Facebook group, the Box People. If you go to wdwradio.com/community, I'll put this question about designing a Disney restaurant. I would love to hear your thoughts, your designs, your plans for what you'd like to see. What does it look like? What's the theming? What's the backstory? What's on the menu? That could be something really interesting.
That's an awesome question. Yeah. I love that one. Cool.
Good job, Dan. The next one comes from Lori Evanhouse. And it says, this is good. Oh, this is so good, Becky. I love this. This is great. Or if people are listening and they hate this, well, we'll find out. I won't tell you what her subject line is, but she says, we're traveling to Orlando in August of 2019. It's not going to be hot. Don't worry about it. We'll be visiting the Magic Kingdom at Epcot with our kids, who will be 8 and 10 years old when we go. Here's the question. What movies should be required viewing before our trip to thoroughly enjoy the parks. Our son is going to be 10 years old. It's going to take some arm twisting for him to watch the princess movies, but he will watch them if it's part of a mandatory family movie night. Deep cuts and canon suggestions are all appreciated. Thank Lori. This, too, is a phenomenal question. Becky is literally on Wikipedia right now looking up Disney movies, which is fine because this is the way it goes. And I'll help you. I'll give you a little buffer time to think about this, because I know we've talked in the past about some movies that have been made into attractions and attractions we'd like made into movies. But I think there are some movies that they're almost required viewing, right? So, and obviously it's great that you gave the context of the ages of your kids, but I think this is something that we can apply to any age range, whether it's your first time visiting or if you are a repeat visitor, because I think there are some that are just the ones you have to see, right? I mean, talking about things like Cinderella and Little Mermaid and Peter Pan and Avatar are almost understood, right? We know that there are attractions for some of those things, but what are some of those other ones that you should start to think about? And we'll take it sort of park by park. We could even sort of go land by land as we think about it, because I think there are ones that if you see them, it will connect some dots for you that you might not think about otherwise. So I'm thinking out loud, and Main Street USA, so many movies are referenced there. Obviously, you've got, Lady and the Tramp with Tony's Town Square, but think about other films like Summer Magic with Burl Ives, some of the music that plays in the background. If you go into the Main Street train station and you look on the arrival and departures board, if you've listened to my audio tour, I talk about this in length. There's an arrival and departures board there that makes references to a lot of movies like Follow Me Boys and The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and The Absent-Minded Professor. There are some of those that I don't necessarily think are required viewing, like you need to watch in order to understand what you see, but I think it'll make some of those things make sense. Now, that being said, if we sort of go land by land, if you go to Adventureland, I think an overlooked film that is still wonderful, and I haven't watched it in years, but The Swiss Family Robinson from the treehouse of the same name is one that you don't have to see, but I think it'll make you appreciate the attraction more, and the attraction will make you appreciate the film more. There's actually, you'll hear the Swiss Polka theme song that's played in the attraction, played in the film itself. Obviously, I would assume that most kids or even adults have probably seen the Pirates of the Caribbean films. If you go to Frontierland, I'm not saying how to find it or where to find it, but if you can find Song of the South, I would absolutely watch it. Again, there are some things that may not be as culturally sensitive in 2019 as they should be, but take that film on its face. It is a beautiful film. The music is great. The messaging is wonderful, and that will absolutely make you appreciate Splash Mountain so much more. And look, even if you want to find some of the scenes, you can find some here and there. Tom and Huck. I would try and find Tom and Huck. Again, if you haven't read Tom Sawyer, it'll make Tom Sawyer Island make a lot more sense there. I want to tell you that the Eddie Murphy movie is awesome. It's not, but I would still watch. I would still watch it anyway. But in Liberty Square, I would watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, with Ichabod Crane, and then you go to not just Sleepy Hollow refreshments and get the so very good spicy chicken and waffle sandwich, but you go across the way to the stores and you see the reference to Ichabod Crane outside. I think in Fantasyland, there are it's the iconic classics, right? Alice in Wonderland and Dumbo, Little Mermaid and Pooh and Snow White. I would throw in Tangled, so the restrooms make sense.
Good point.
And I would probably, I'm trying to think any other. You could meet Merida, so maybe I would go see Brave. You could also meet Princess Tiana over by Liberty Square, so I would probably watch Princess, and I love Princess and the Frog too. And in Tomorrowland, I would watch the Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University films. And let's see, let's sort of get, I'm going to throw this one in there just because I love this film. I would watch Meet the Robinsons, not because there's any references there, but there's a song from Carousel of Progress that you can hear in the film. And then obviously Toy Story for Buzz Lightyear stuff.
You're on a roll. I'm just going to sit here for a while. Keep going.
Any other ones in Magic Kingdom any other sort of ones that you can think of from Magic Kingdom that you would need to watch that I didn't? I would do not watch the Country Bears movie and then go to the Country Bear Jamboree. Just go to the Country Bear Jamboree and enjoy that for exactly what it is on its face. I don't think you can or really should necessarily watch the movie.
You're pretty much setting that up for about 12 months worth of music. Movies here, tied into the music that you're talking about as well.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's all good. So in Epcot, so let's see.
I would probably add Toy Story in there.
Yeah,
for Tomorrowland,
and obviously add Toy Story for. So they said they're visiting. Okay, so they only go to Magic Kingdom at Epcot, so I'm going to leave Hollywood Studios out of it, although I think you should watch Toy Story anyway.
That's one of the best.
In Epcot, obviously, Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. I would also... Okay, so you could meet Baymax, so I would watch Big Hero 6. I believe you can still meet Joy and Sadness, so I would watch Inside Out. You can, as of this past week, you can now meet Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope in the ImageWorks. So you actually have to watch Ralph Breaks the Internet so you can understand how and why they're getting there. But, okay, so I didn't think about this until right. And it's funny, as I'm about to say this, when Epcot first opened, part of the issues potentially with it were it was not kid-friendly. There was nothing kid-relatable. There was nothing for kids to do. It very much didn't feel like a Disney park, and that was a deliberate choice that was made early on until Michael Eisner walked in. And he's like, dude, where's Mickey Mouse? They're like, Mickey Mouse is in Magic Kingdom. Like, you put a spacesuit on him and get him over here right now. And he had that cool spacesuit with the helmet with the rainbow on it. Anyway, but now, all of a sudden, World Showcase has so many references. So I'm going to try and go around the horn. You need to watch, so obviously you need to watch The Three Caballeros for Mexico. You also need to watch Coco for Mexico for what is there and some of the other things that are coming, both inside the pavilion and out. You need to obviously, there's a little movie called Frozen. You may or may not have heard about it. For Frozen Ever After, I would absolutely watch Mulan. Plus you could meet Mulan over in China. I'm sort of jumping around. You can
say
Norway. So in Norway, you actually have to watch. So you need to watch Sleeping Beauty, and you need to watch Beauty and the Beast, which you also need to watch for the UK as well, because you could meet Belle and Beast there.
Mary Poppins,
Alice in Wonderland. You have to watch Ratatouille. Not just because of the little Remy and the restaurant, but the big Remy that's coming in the attraction as well.
Yeah. You just like knocked off 4 of the ones that I had sitting here. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, you told me to keep going, so
I'm gonna go refill the wine. I'll be back.
I would also so you wanted some of the little bit more obscura ones. I would watch the Computer Wore tennis shoes, because inside Journey into Imagination, you'll see a computer room and there's red tennis shoes outside. I would also watch The Son of Flubber, because the jacket is from Medfield College, which is referenced there as well. So that all of a sudden you don't need to see it, but I just think it's really cool. But the Medfield College Letterman's jacket that's in there is what that references.
So what about Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland, the film?
Yeah. What do you think about that? Because it does kind of... Should I
again,
ask? Dare I ask?
It's oh no, so wait. Actually, you need to watch The Absent-Minded Professor. No, wait. Oh, you watch Absent-Minded Professor for that, but there's also wait, I'm still thinking. I'm mentally going through the attractions in my head. In the queue, there is a reference on one of the doors to Flubber. So you'll need to watch. Yeah, you'll need to watch the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, Absent-Minded Professor, and Flubber, either the original or the Robin Williams version. I'll take either one, or Son of Flubber. And then as far as Tomorrowland is concerned, the first part of that film was wonderful, and then it lost me. So I want to say yes, but if I've already given him about 76 hours of movie viewing to watch. I mean, look, if you're on the plane, you got some time, knock yourself out. Is it the best of the films? Meh, probably not.
Okay, well then how about Understanding Walt and Mary Poppins and doing Saving Mr. Banks?
Absolutely. I would absolutely, without a doubt.
I love that film.
Yeah.
I really adore that film.
It's too bad they're not going to the studios. There's a lot of good stuff there too.
You'd be here for another hour.
You know
just
what? Make your kids watch.
Studios.
No, make your kids watch the Muppet movie, the original Muppet movie, just because it's awesome.
You know, the best Muppet movie is the Christmas one, though.
So many good. Oh, the good stuff with yeah.
Okay, so now we've gotten 2 questions down.
Well, this is good. All right, so I'm just going to random. I'm literally like just scrolling through and stopping. This is from Heather Morgan. She says, "Am I crazy?" Yes, Heather, you're crazy. All right, moving on to the next. No, she says, "Am I crazy?" Which I assume is not the question you want me to ask. I love Disney. Big, bold, capital letters, which means she really loves Disney. All things Disney. I love your podcast. I've been listening for years now. And even though I consider myself a Disney expert, my BFF, that means best friend forever, I think. And I started a Disney blog, which is awesome. You teach me new things on the regular. Awesome. I'm also a huge, big letters, bold, underline, italics, different fonts, huge Disney fan. I run Disney so I can eat Disney. I dig it. Heather, I eat Disney so I can talk about eating Disney. I plan my vacations around food. We just bonded, but I digress. My question is this. Circa 1993, yikes. We're going back in time. I came to Disney with the Magic Music Days program with my high school band. Okay, very cool. I swear, also big letters, that Epcot had a restaurant, and I recall it being Moroccan because it was the first time I tried couscous, but I swear, also big letters, love, huge, swear, and swear, all in big letters and caps. It featured sitting on the floor on pillows around a table to eat. None of my friends remember this, but can you confirm or deny that this in fact existed? So Heather, I can neither confirm nor deny. However, I'm going to lean on the side of deny. You're obviously talking about Restaurant Marrakesh, which was like the Pavilion, was not an opening day restaurant. Everything opened in 1982. Morocco opened in 1986 alongside Norway. I don't believe I had ever seen photos. Now there are sort of 2 levels and Becky, not that you would be the person to do this, but I have to do a live review of Restaurant Marrakesh. You wouldn't eat anything in there, I know. But there's 2 levels.
Got a great kids menu.
Yeah, There's a lower level seating area and an upper level seating area. But I believe that even with some minor updates over the years, you've always sat at tables. Now, I think the idea of doing those sort of, big pillow beanbaggy things on the floor would be cool because that's probably how it's done in Marrakesh, but I don't ever believe. So it might be one of those things like and I forget what it's called, where somebody says like that movie called Shazam, we all swear we remember it being made, but we know it was really never really made. It was one of those sort of false memories in our head. That is probably what it was. Becky, I know you have nothing to add because you've never even been to the Moroccan restaurant.
I have been to the Moroccan restaurant. I am admittedly not the biggest fan of those types of spices in food, as you know. But 1993 was a little bit before my first Walt Disney World experience, so I cannot confirm or deny either way. As you've been talking, I've kind of been Googling around a little bit just to see if there was anything that even spoke to it. The pictures from back around there, I'm not seeing anything with people sitting on pillows on the floor. So I kind of have to say, I think
it would be cool, like it would be cool to have that, and you're sitting on the things, and there's all like the cool lanterns, and you're eating with your. Did you ever see the movie Along Came Polly with Ben Stiller and Jennifer? This is totally not Disney related. When he's sitting and he hates spicy foods, and he's like, that would be you, like just sweating uncontrollably and all sort of gastrointestinal problems. But theming wise, it would be beautiful to look at.
You know what though? That made me think about, and I don't know why I'm thinking Tokyo so much, but remember the restaurant that we went to where you had your sushi heaven meal, where people were sitting on the floor. And for those of us who really couldn't sit on the floor the way you're supposed to, they had the little, the hole under the table so you could pretend like you were sitting on the floor.
That is one of my favorite meals I have ever had. Like,
I have never seen you so happy in your entire life. In the lifetime that I've known you.
I was. It was lovely. And I'm happy that I got to share it with you.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Wait for it. You're waiting for something mean. It's not coming. It's not coming. Because it was such a traditional, truly, it was not like a tourist sort of put on a show Japanese restaurant. Like it was a real Japanese restaurant, and Japanese people were eating there, so you know it had to be good. Like, and I just
the neighborhood. You could tell it was a neighborhood.
We could not. We had no idea what we were ordering, and I totally dug it.
And you ate it all. You ate anything they handed you.
I did. I didn't care.
Who knows what it was?
I did not care. So.
But that's that same type of scenario, though, where you're kind of the restaurant is in the style that you would be eating if you were in that country. It'd be kind of cool if they did something like that at Marrakesh or at even in the Japan Pavilion. It'd be kind of cool to have that scenario where you could just kind of sit on the floor without sitting on the floor.
And I think that's the balance that Epcot has had to strike from the very beginning, which is making things traditional while still accessible to people, right? In terms not just of the menu, but even, when you have that type of seating, there are mobility issues and things like that you have to keep in consideration. It would be neat if that was an option, both in the, someplace like Tokyo Dining or in Restaurant Marrakesh. But you have to sort of strike that delicate balance. So
Indeed. Okay.
All right. So we are going to move on, and the randomizer randomly selects Andrew Mylan, who says, Lou. Oh, I know Andrew Mylan. Love the show as always. Look forward to each week's podcast. I have Becky. Perfect. Oh, wait. This is all you. I can answer this for you. You don't even need to be here. I got this. He says,
can tell.
I have a travel question for you. I want a trip through work to Cabo. Oh, yeah. My wife loves to fly, but I don't. Any suggestions on how to make flying more enjoyable? Becky, give him the Becky answer. Go ahead.
Well, a first class ticket really helps. Especially if you're coming internationally and you can lie flat and just sleep the entire way. That works well. I'll be really honest. For many, many years, I'm not the best flyer. I don't really enjoy flying. There's something about being in a little metal tube going 500, 600 miles an hour. that's just kind of hurtling itself through air where I can't even figure out how a rock would stay up in the air, let alone a huge jumbo jet. So over time, I've kind of gotten myself into downloading movies that I want to see on my iPad, making sure that I've got some music to distract me if things get a little crazy. Crushing email. If I'm behind on work, I'm going to crush email in the airplane, so I have something to just watch and distract. Unfortunately, the airlines haven't made it the most enjoyable experience as it once was. I remember not too long ago, I was seeing some pictures of somebody posting what air travel was like back in the 60s and early 70s, where people still dressed up and you had, 3 feet between your seat and the other seat in economy. And real food was being served, and what it used to be like. Apparently, I never got to fly during that time. I do remember, however, that first trip that my daddy took me to Disneyland when I was on my 7th birthday, and he got up, he left me with the stewardess, and he went to the back of the plane to play poker with all the rest of the guys. There was a big poker table.
The good old days.
Yeah, exactly.
They were smoking, they were drinking,
if
playing
the airlines
poker.
want to know how to make it better, reinstall the poker game and back. His dad will be really happy. But I think that a lot of it is just packing your patience and setting your level of expectation anymore with air travel. And if you do find watching movies enjoyable or listening to music or listening to podcasts, just make sure that you've got them downloaded on whatever contraption that you're using to just kind of let yourself sink away and listen to the things that you enjoy. And making sure that you have that you know where you're going to sit. You've got the people with you. Get your seat assignments early so that your family isn't broken up, which happens a lot lately as well. And then go early. A lot of people, and you and I agree with this, that a lot of people will say, well, I don't really need to be there 2 hours ahead of time. I'm just going to get there real quick and just so I don't waste time at the airport. You know what? A lot of the airports are like wonderful places to get massages or get your nails done or to have a great meal rather than
I love the airport.
Rather than worrying about getting there late and waiting in the security line and possibly missing your flight. Just, shoot for that 2 hours early or 3 hours early if you're going to fly internationally. And then know that you're going to have some time to go and have a nice meal, because we know that on the planes, you're really not going to have one. Enjoy the shopping and the entertainment that has been popping up in a lot of the local airports as well. So, and I will tell you, 20 cheers for TSA PreCheck. If you fly more than a couple of times a year, it might be worth it for you. And if you fly definitely 4 or 5 times a year or more, look into Clear. Those are my tips for making air travel a little bit easier. And
they're great and they make sense. And I think you have to sort of think about it in terms of stages. So I think even before you get to the airport, get on your trip, you sort of need to think about some things that will help you get comfortable. So for me, I think where you sit on the plane is important. I like to sit near the front of the plane and on an aisle seat. And I think if you are concerned about feeling claustrophobic, not being able to get up, I while it sounds nice to sort of rest your head and sort of look out the window, having to bother 2 other people to get up and walk, go to the bathroom, whatever, I think it's easier to feel like you've got a little bit more room and a little bit of space. And if you need to sort of, take a break, you can do it. I agree with you 100% in terms of loading up whatever device it is. Do a Marvel movie marathon, download a couple of books. An audiobook is wonderful. I think noise canceling headphones. You can get, you don't need super expensive ones. There's a ton of great ones that you can get on Amazon. And don't be, and I think this is depending on your own personal sensitivity and comfort level. I think if you are uncomfortable about flying, don't hesitate to tell them when you check in or the flight attendant. There's nothing that you should have to worry about or be embarrassed about, but they will be conscious of it and try and probably do things to help you have a better flight. But I think, having the location in place, finding some things that are distracting to you are good as well. Again, I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but, maybe don't load up on coffee and sugar and Coca-Cola and get all, because you get super hyper and super caffeinated. It probably is going to make you more anxious than if you just, stay a little chill, listen to some, calming music. I do not watch movies like Airplane or Airport 77 before you get those are not the things you should be watching. You want
the best idea.
Yeah. You want to try
it's like getting on a ship and watching Titanic.
Right.
Not a good idea.
Right. I think you need to sort of beforehand, you need to sort of figure out and address what you are concerned about or afraid of. You can control whatever it is that you can, and then almost, embrace the other things as much as possible. I think that you're also right about getting there early so there's no additional anxiety while you're there. And I think you really do have to have trust and confidence in, flying really is the safest form of travel. It's amazing, like you said, that they get these giant metal machines up in the air, but it really does. And look, if you have to have, I don't necessarily recommend this, but if you have to have a glass of wine or your favorite cocktail or, Becky's favorite cocktail, all 6 of them, before you get on the plane at 9 o'clock in the morning, then do what you got to do to help you have a good. And look, even if you're really anxious, go see a doctor and see if there's something that they can help you to relieve some of that anxiety. Or even better yet, if you're able to sleep, something that I found, which is super helpful, and it's over the counter. It's not a drug at all. It's melatonin. It's completely natural. You put it under your tongue. There's no side effects. You fall asleep in like a half hour. You wake up like refreshed and not groggy at all. If you sort of have that debilitating fear without wanting to take anything, and I don't necessarily recommend taking, alcohol or narcotics to counteract that, that'll at least help you take a nap if you've got especially if you have a long flight.
Yeah, and if you do have a long flight, I highly recommend, and believe it or not, when I say this, stay away from the alcohol at that altitude. I drink usually sparkling water with lemon pretty much the entire flight when I fly anymore.
Becky,
I don't drink.
I'm sorry, that's not lemon. That's pronounced vodka. It's a little bit different. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the Russian translation of the word vodka.
I found that I feel so much better, like 5 hours or more. I feel so much better if I've drank water the entire time. And I did stop drinking caffeine, and I did pretty much, all right, there's been once or twice I might have a mimosa in the morning, but I'm going to backfill that with as much water as I possibly can.
And the other,
I feel better when I land.
And I agree. And I also think, to that point, once you get through security, go buy yourself a bottle of water. Don't wait for them to have to bring it to you. And to that point too, the reason why I carry a 76-pound backpack is not because I have, my exercise equipment in there and my laptops. That's not, it's the snacks. And I'm not kidding. Like, I know that you think I'm trying to be funny, and I'm not. I always bring like a trail mix. I bring nuts. I bring dark chocolate. If I get a migraine, I bring my own big bottle of water, usually like a power bar, some little bags of snacks. Sometimes I bring extras. Like if there's a kid or somebody else near me who's like freaking out or hungry, I want to have a little something that I can give somebody if their parents is okay. Because, and this has happened to me before, it does happen that either you're stuck on the runway for hours, maybe they run out of snacks, they don't have, they can't have food service because of turbulence or something. Listen, and this is the part where you don't listen to this part, Andrew, but God forbid, Becky, you know me, God forbid the plane goes down and it's Lord of the Flies, I'm going to be the guy that's got the conch shell because I'm the one with all the snacks. Or they're going to kill me first and eat all my snacks. But
I seem to remember when we flew to Hawaii, that was your thing in your brain going, at least I have food.
The plane goes down, I'm the guy that's ready. I have the right clothes. I've got the right stuff in my backpack. I'm good to go. Don't listen to that part. But yeah. But seriously, if there's foods that you like, especially if there's comfort foods, bring those with you. Don't go buy them at the airport. I put everything in Ziploc bags, so it's easy to see what I have and easy to get out, easy for security to see it. But it's comforting to me to know that I have, 11 pounds of snacks.
It is for some reason, and it works for you, and it works for the people who fly with you, because I know I wasn't going to go hungry if, we were on the tarmac for 10 hours.
Chex Mix is a good one too. Chex Mix is nice. Yeah. All right. So, okay.
It works.
I had to somehow bring that back around to food. So all right. Okay. This is from Dylan Gamble. Hey, Lou and Becky. What? I just had a question.
The one remembers I'm actually here. I love him.
I just had a question about having look at this. About having breakfast at Ohana. We have an 8:10 a.m. breakfast reservation. We're wondering the best way to get there. We're staying at All-Star Movies. We have a 2-year-old, so I'm just looking for the easiest way there using Disney transportation systems. Love all the work you do, and your show brings a smile not only to mine, but my wife's face, and we love listening to your podcast. Keep up the great work. Dylan, Becky, I have a feeling we have the same answer to this question.
Mine would be minivan.
Yep. Minivan has been a godsend.
Love with that service. I cannot tell you, and I know the price has gone up a little bit after they rolled it out. But I actually did an experiment the last 2 times I was there. I didn't rent a car. I decided, you know what? Because I normally do, because me, I have to meet people and go to different places and go to different restaurants, and wherever you decide that we're meeting at, whatever restaurant that is, I have to get there somehow. So I didn't rent a car for the very first time. I thought, you know what, I'm going to find out if I spend more money or less money if I just do minivans on my regular routine. And one time it came out almost even with all the conveniences of a minivan, which is actually much more than renting a car, parking it, trying to figure out where to park it, trying to figure out how to retrieve it, trying to figure out where I can park to begin with. And it's so easy to just use that little app, request the minivan. And by the way, you can request a certain time to pick it up too, or to pick you up. So a lot of people have kind of given me the feedback of, well, I stood out there, waited, there was no cars available. So it was 15 minutes later. So I was just going to go ahead and take a cab, when in fact you can actually pre-schedule them too, which is really cool. But I love the convenience, and especially when you're going to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because the drop point for the Magic Kingdom for the minivans is in the bus loop. And it's right there. And you just walk around the corner and you're right at security and right at the gates. So convenient. The cast members I have met are amazing, and they are so friendly, and they will answer any question that you have about the resorts and the parks and the restaurants and how to get around, and they are fantastic. So it's almost like having your own personal guide for how much ever time you're going to be in the minivan with them. And when you do have a little one, they also have car seats.
Yeah.
So the car seat is there and available and free, part of the ride that you're paying for. So convenient. I would highly recommend using the minivan service.
Without a doubt. And over time, I've seen they now have not just the sort of mid-size SUVs, but they have larger ones too, for larger families, ones that can accommodate wheelchairs and scooters and things like that. It works using the, sort of that lift system. But yeah, without a doubt, that's the way to do it, especially with the 2-year-old. I agree.
Yep.
They're really making it so that you have so many more reasons not to have or need a car. And now with the Skyliner system, which I was driving around property today and really sort of seeing it come together, and it's all strung up, and they're testing, ride vehicles. That's going to be an interesting addition to the transportation system.
Absolutely. Well. And another side too is that the minivan service, they've also added airport service with that as well.
Yeah.
So if you want that same Disney cast, Disney brand quality that you have come to know they're also offering that as a shuttle service from the airport.
Yep. All right, let's try and get a couple more in here very, very quickly. This one is from Rachel. She says, Lou, I love your show. I had a question and realized you would probably have a good answer. Rachel, I can't guarantee that, but I'll do the best I can, especially under the circumstances. Do you know of a place to get the music played on Main Street on a CD? I'm a teacher and would love to play it in my classroom. I have attraction music covered, but would really love a Main Street option, especially the morning show, possibly my favorite thing about visiting the Magic Kingdom. Thank you very much. So, Rachel, this is actually an awesome question. I love the music of Walt Disney World. In all the years, in the 14 years I've been podcasting, I've never repeated a show, but I will tell you that we are going to go back and look at the music of Walt Disney World in terms of one of the 7 wonders and some of our favorite. But I also agree about how much I love the music from Main Street USA. So before I answer your question, I'm going to sort of go on the Wayback Machine. That's like the Wayback Machine sound.
Did you just do the?
I did. It's like
What?
from Wayne's World. Yeah.
Did you? Are your fingers going?
I did. Nobody can see me, but I'm making
Wayne.
my fingers go.
It's Wayne, right? Isn't
What?
that the Wayne thing?
Yeah, Wayne's
You know what
World.
I'm talking about?
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Thank you. Okay.
So going
Brain.
back
Ouch.
in history, and we're probably looking back to late 90s, early 2000s. There was, much like now, a desire by guests to be able to look, we want to bring the magic home with us. And I think the music is such an important part. If we could capture the smells, well, now you can with sort of the little air fresheners, but if we can capture the smells and capture the music, it's one of the things that guests wanted to bring home. And yeah, over the years, there have been a wide variety of and I still believe they have the Walt Disney World official album, which I think only has maybe one song. It might have Flitterin' from Main Street USA. There was also a box set, but most of those were, like you said, attraction music. But back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, there was something called the Wonderland CD music system. And you were actually able to go in there and sort of put together your own kind of greatest hits. So you could buy, some of the different albums that used to be available on vinyl, like the Hall of Presidents and Mickey Mouse stuff and some of those other albums. But you were also able to go into these kiosks and not only get CDs on demand. So if you wanted, Mickey Mania or, the Peter Pan soundtrack, whatever, you could do that. But you could also sort of make up your own like CDs of songs. Now you've got a little bit more. You can't buy those CDs anymore, but you have a lot of other options. So Spotify, if you have Spotify Premium, Spotify is your friend. There are a lot of pre-made playlists, unofficial playlists, that have assembled a lot of those songs, and you'll find ones that specifically have songs from Main Street USA because a lot of these are songs, some of which were composed, in the early 1900s, some of them a little bit later in the 20th century, and obviously a number have come from not just Disney musicals, but so there's, Put On Your Sunday Clothes from Hello Dolly, which I think was like 1964, somewhere around there. I mentioned Flitterin' and Summer Magic. That comes from the 63 film Summer Magic with Haley Mills and Burl Ives, going back to the early. It's a movie you guys should watch anyway. Let's see. There was Hello Dolly, Summer Magic. I think Music Man. I think there's some tracks from Music Man there. Wow. There's a lot of Junk Mag Rags and some of the ragtime music. Goodbye My Coney Island Baby is still part of the loop. I think they've now added relatively recently sort of and I forget what it's called. It's the love song from Up that was they sort of put it together. It's not directly from the movie, but it's that composition. that you could now hear in the background as well. So you can find those on Spotify. You could probably find those on Apple Music as well. So you won't be able to necessarily play it on a CD. I don't even know if I have a CD player anymore, except like the one in my car.
I was wondering that too. Amazing, isn't it?
But yeah, so you should be able to find that content. That's a very long answer, but I love the music of Main Street USA. I don't mean this to be, I guess I do mean it to be a shameless plug. Who cares? It's my show. My Main Street audio tour, one of the things I loved about putting together Main Street was spending time on Main Street, and having that background audio is some of the most immersive and transportive, if that's a word, music. When you step under that train station, and that you've got that transition, and that turn of the century ragtime music comes up, you just really feel like you are in that small seaside town with that music, and it really helps to set the tone.
And that's one thing I've always loved about the Disney parks is the music transition from land to land really, like you said, sets the tone and takes you to that other location. I love just sitting on Main Street and watching the people, listening to the music, grabbing an ice cream cone. It's one of my favorite things to do, and the music really sets the stage for the experience.
Did you say grabbing an ice cream cone or taking out your flask? I wasn't paying. I was looking for other emails. No.
Ice cream cone. Hello. See, I'm shattering all of the.
Oh, please! Anybody who's hung out with you knows this.
From you. I drink water on planes. I eat ice cream cones on Main Street.
I'm going to take pictures of you when we go to Tokyo. When we go to Japan this year. That's a very strange looking water bottle. So
I think you drank a little bit more sake than I did over there.
It's research, by the way. All right, so listen. I just realized I was about to answer I was about to ask. Read another email, but instead I'm going to do so again. As long as we're trying things that are different, I'm going to do something completely. Now you're really nervous, right?
You're scaring me.
I'm going to give you a lightning round. And I don't know what this is such a bad idea because I'm thinking about it as I'm saying. I'm going to give you a lightning round of just quick hit questions. These are not from listeners. These are off the top of my head. Not including cocktails. Favorite snack in any of the parks?
Oh,
this is lightning. Just so you know, lightning means.
See, I need time to think about things.
It's
Otherwise,
the opposite of the word lightning round.
Snack. What do you mean by snack?
Something that you put in your mouth and eat.
Yes, I realize that. But is it just like a small little snack? Are you talking about like a corn dog from the?
It could be a corn dog. It could be popcorn. It can be, a kakigori. It could be whatever you want.
I you know me, I really do love the little red wagon and the corn dogs.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking about the little kiosks that are sitting around, and if I'm going to wait in line for anything, it's not going to be popcorn. It's probably going to be a corn dog.
I wish you would have said that in the Becky voice.
What?
My favorite. You know what? I know it's such a lame answer, but there's something about sitting on Main Street with a bucket of popcorn. And by bucket, I mean like a giant bucket. Look, almost like a gallon drum of popcorn.
When was the last time you had popcorn on Main Street?
I couldn't even tell you. It's been way too long.
So the only time the popcorn, if it tastes like spaghetti, I'm in.
You need to clarify that because that's what the popcorn in Tokyo tasted like. Like on purpose.
Yes, exactly. That's my point.
I won't ask you favorite. Okay, since we were just talking, favorite attraction in Tomorrowland in Walt Disney World?
The TTA.
There you go.
Without question, because I'm that person that wants to keep doing the once more round thing. I don't want to get off that ride. And the moment they tell me, no, I'm sorry, lady, you can't ride it for the 20th time, I'll get off and then I'll get back in line and I'll get back on again.
No, I've seen those. I've seen them try and tell you to get off, and it did not end well for that cast member. Favorite character, favorite Disney character.
Oh, I got like 40 of those, right?
One. This is lightning round. This is quick.
Is it Marvel or Disney? Can I include both?
Come on, quick.
Oswald.
Okay.
I love Oswald because of the history. That takes me back into Disney history and some of my own history. You do know that Rocket Raccoon is my spirit animal. Absolutely.
Yes. That's why every present I ever buy you has something to do with Rocket Raccoon.
I know, and I love that because I identify with that poor little guy so badly. But then again, I also like Deadpool. You wanted honesty and lightning. There you go.
The psychiatrists that are listening are having a field day with you right now.
I like me some Deadpool.
This is lightning round. You stink at
How
this
about you?
concept. You stink at this concept. If you could only eat at one Walt Disney World restaurant for the rest of your life, every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what is it?
Oh, the teppanyaki place.
For breakfast?
Sure.
They don't have breakfast there.
well, if there's only one restaurant I could eat at, if you're telling me I have to find one that has all 3 meals that I would like for the rest of time.
I mean, if you want to have, you didn't
answer about your favorite character, by the way, but I know it's Peter Pan. But what else?
If you want to have pork fried rice, like for breakfast, which they do in Asia, which is awesome, you can do that. But but for the rest of your life, you're going to sit down and they're going to do a little choo 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 thing with the onion on the table.
That's true. But that's my favorite restaurant, though, because you know me, I like the teppanyaki stuff.
Although we've never been there.
What? You and I have never. Well, we were at the other place,
right?
Benihana. Thank you.
It's a Small World or Carousel of Progress.
Oh, that's evil. Oh, that's evil. Carousel of Progress, probably. You're not answering any of these. You're like throwing them at me. Why? I know,
because it's just fun. This favorite Disney song. Favorite Disney song.
Disney song or a song from a movie? Disney movie.
What part of favorite Disney song is the most confusing to you? Just I want to, if you need favorite Disney song, interpret that as you like.
All right, from a Disney movie, it would be the one, "These Small Wonders." I think is the Small Wonders from Meet the Robinsons.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually my very favorite. That's my favorite Disney movie.
Wow.
And I love that song. And if you put that song on and you give me that Walt quote at the very end of that thing, I'm in tears every single time. That will I'm serious. It's very touching to me.
Is it Little Wonders or Small Wonders?
I think it's Little Wonders.
I think it's Little Wonders.
These Small Wonders. I think it's
Little Wonders.
I don't know.
I think it's Little Wonders.
I can sing it, but that's
we're having a nice day. All right, I'll give you one more just for giggles. If you could live in one country in World Showcase, which would it be?
Oh, wow.
America.
That's only because it's got a nice lounge to go to. Wow. See, Japan is probably France. Probably France. Yeah. Because the slushies there are awesome. And you can get crepes. Yum. What?
You said crepes, right?
The little grab and go and back. It's awesome.
Okay.
Little Wonders. It's Little Wonders by Rob Thompson.
Well, it was a little wonder. See, I told you this wasn't going to be as bad as you thought, Becky, or maybe it was. I just don't know it. But I have a good feeling.
I hated you when you came up with this great idea today?
A lot. It was a lot. But hopefully... But
you didn't answer any of those questions. Would you answer a couple? Because I know people are probably just screaming right now. We know your favorite character. It's Spider-Man or Peter Pan. Those are your two guys.
Okay.
So what about your favorite music? Your favorite Disney song?
Man, I didn't answer that one because it's hard.
I know you made me
songs.
So
There's different songs that I love for different reasons.
Me too.
And it also, is it my favorite song from the parks? Is it my favorite song from a movie? Is it
pick one from a movie? Because I picked one from a movie. Pick one from a movie.
Man,
don't got all day. It's lightning round. Come on, let's go.
I know this is probably a lame answer, but Feed the Birds, man. It's
That's not a lame answer. That's a beautiful answer.
a pretty almost any song from Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
original Mary Poppins.
can get me. Yeah.
That was brilliance on a 45.
Yeah.
All right. Then what else? How about restaurant for you besides Boathouse? You can't say Boathouse. You
I
would have
can't because they don't have.
breakfast
Well, they have that. They have a secret. They have a secret brunch.
They have
But
a secret what?
Shh, they have.
There's a secret what?
Shh, you stink at this. You're the worst. So again, they would have to serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm trying to think of, atmosphere and location and
Forever,
variety and forever and ever. It's like from Pee Wee Herman. Man, that's tough. So a buffet would make sense because there's a lot of different stuff to choose from. So you could say something like Boma, which has exceptional, but Animal Kingdom Lodge is so far away. I don't even know.
You can't eat bread service for the rest of your life.
I know, but there's no bread service there. That's Sanaa. But they do. I mean, the variety that's on there, but I don't know if I would want some things that have just more staple type foods.
See, it's hard, isn't it? See,
of course it is. That's why I asked you.
Wonderfully ask all these questions to people that make them squirm in their seats.
I'm going to post this one. I'll post this one in the Box People group as well.
Cool.
I'll answer the last question because it's the only other one I can remember. If I could live in one country in World Showcase, I'll take America out of the equation because I live there already. If I could live in one other country, it's Japan. It's without even question. Having not been now, I the caveat and the asterisk, and you have to read my codicil to that, is that I have not been to most of those countries. Italy might very well, leapfrog over once I go there.
Italy.
But Japan, the culture, the history, the people, the food, the snacks, the food, and the food. And the history and the culture and the samurais and ninjas and Godzilla and all that kind of stuff. For all those reasons, and the
anime does it every single time.
Ultraman and Speed Racer and all those things from my childhood, and ninjas would make me want to. Come on,
right on. I could do that.
Yeah.
I want a sword. I'd love to have a katana.
I have a katana. One day I was going to say I'd buy you a katana, but I probably won't. But yeah, so that's probably why. So I'm going to post that question. I'll try and remember some of these other questions, and I'll post these because I absolutely want to hear from you, my friend, our friend, the listener, what your thoughts are on some of these. So some of the questions that we went over here, I'll post in the Box People group. Go to wdwradio.com/community. It's where the conversation, it's where the community, it's where you, our family, exists. And obviously, of course, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway, that if you want to go to any of these places, both in the Disney worlds and in the real worlds, whether it's Japan, the pavilion, or Japan, the country, Becky Menken and her wonderful team at Mouse Fan Travel can help you for all your vacation planning needs. MouseFanTravel.com.
We absolutely can. Absolutely. I am so in love with vacation planning and the places that Disney takes us and the places that we can go to explore other cultures in the rest of this world. We absolutely plan vacations like they're our own because we love what we do.
And the food.
And the food. And the drinks. See, I could maybe pick Japan too because of the Tokyo sunsets.
That's a cocktail, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought you meant like the sunsets in Tokyo, not the sunset Tokyo.
Well, I'm sure that the sunsets in Tokyo are going to be fantastic when we see them. By the way, we still have one room left. They're going to be fantastic, but the Tokyo sunset, the cocktail is going to be, it's out of this world.
And if you, not you, Becky, but you, listener, if you have a question that you want us to answer on the show, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com. And I promise, Becky Menken, it won't take so long before we do this again. But thank you so very much for joining me and being such a good sport for what I think might be our new format. I kind of dig this.
You know what? It's a lot of fun just kind of throwing stuff out there, but there are some ones that I would like to, take a look at and get to know the people and read them too. Because sometimes they say nice things about me that you don't read.
I always read everything, just not necessarily out loud.
With or without a question mark. Or an asterisk.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history, or just see how well you pay attention to the details, sometimes know what you see, or hear, or experience in the parks. If you think you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney Prize package. Of course, before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week's question was pretty straightforward and simple because I asked you who, not where, who in Walt Disney World sings or sung a song specifically about gravity. And I don't mean the film Gravity, I mean the naturally occurring phenomenon in space and things like that. The answer, of course, and I want to thank the hundreds of you who answered, got this one correct, or were pretty creative in your answers as always, is Sunny Eclipse, with, you have to give credit to his backup singers, the Space Angels. He is actually voiced by a gentleman by the name of Cal David. And if you go back to show 238, which now seems like ages ago because I guess it was, I talked to Cal about the experience of voicing Sunny Eclipse and a little bit more about the backstory and the origins of Sunny. But Sunny, if you've ever sat in there for any length of time, he has, I think still has about 8 different songs, not just about gravity, but his Hello to the Space Angels, a song about where he came from, which was You Nork, say that 3 times fast. Planetary Boogie is, of course, one of his favorites, and a little bit of a jazzy, as he describes, an eclipso type of jazz music. And the music is actually great. It was actually written by legendary Disney composer George Wilkins, who also wrote and arranged a lot of music for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, as well as the old Food Rocks attraction in Epcot as well. Again, you can learn a lot more about Sunny and Cal and the process on show 238. But I took all of the correct entries. Again, thanks to everybody who entered and played. Randomly selected one. And again, last week you were playing for all 7 of my digital audio walking tours of the Magic Kingdom, as well as my 102 Ways to Save Money for an at Walt Disney World book, still available, by the way, on Amazon and iTunes. I'm also going to send you a WDW Radio vinyl sticker for your car or your laptop, a WDW Radio pop socket for your phone, and why not, I'm also going to send you a WDW Radio t-shirt. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Robert Fisher. So Robert, thank you and congratulations. I'll get your prize package out to you right away. If you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. All right, I'm going to keep this one simple and straightforward and direct. There's not a huge backstory to this. Simply tell me, where in Walt Disney World was maybe the Electric Eel arcade? Kids, arcades were places that you would go and put quarters into machines and play video games on a little thing instead of your little console or on your phone. They were really cool. I spent way too much time in them as a kid and borderline adult. So tell me, where in Walt Disney World is or was the Electric Eel Arcade? You have until Sunday, February 24th at 11:59 p.m. to go to WDWRadio.com, click on the podcast link, go to this week's episode, and use the online form there. Again, you're going to play for all the digital products, a vinyl sticker, a pop socket, a t-shirt, and why not, I'm also going to throw in, should it be a mystery prize? No, you know what? I have a couple of more of those very, very cool light-up Thor Mjolnir hammers from the Marvel Day at Sea Cruise. It's the only place and the only time you can get them. I'll put one of those in there as well. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so very much for tuning in this and every week. Don't forget that I want you to be part of the conversation, more importantly, the community. So please go to WDWRadio.com/community. That is where you will find our Box People group on Facebook. You can also connect and talk to me on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I am at Lou Mongello. And don't forget to like the WDW Radio page over at facebook.com/WDW Radio. If you have a question you want to answer on the air, like a listener email segment like this week, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com. And if you want to be heard on the air, leave a message, call the voicemail at 407-900-9391. Huge, monstrous thanks to all of you who are part of the WDW Radio Nation family, whether you are a new member or a longtime member. I appreciate all of you who are doing so much, not only to be able to help the show, but it's a way for me to be able to thank and give back to you each and every month. I want to thank some new members, including Dominique Glaros, Amy Meyer, Steve Roman, William Krebzinski, Andre Bourque, Bourque, Andre, you know it's you. Thank you. Ada St. Clair, Alan Cole, and Erica Manning. If you want to find out how you can be part of the Nation family and really help support the show and get exclusive rewards every month, I create and send out a brand new monthly scavenger hunt from the parks. We have a private Facebook group. There's Magic Band covers, logo gear, backpacks, t-shirts. We also do a live monthly video group call where it's not just you watching me in the chat, but you are on the call as sort of a group call as well. You also get early access to special events, sometimes discounts, as well as some exclusive WDW Radio Nation events that I'll be planning and announcing very time soon. Don't forget that a portion of proceeds do go to the Dream Team Project to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. Again, to find out how you can be part of the Nation family, please visit wdwradio.com/support. Don't forget that as much as I enjoy communicating and hearing from you online, nothing beats a handshake and a hug. Don't forget our monthly meetups in Walt Disney World. Our next is going to be Saturday, February 23rd at Disney Springs. It's over Princess Marathon weekend. If you go to the events page at wdwradio.com/events, you can find out not just about Meets of the Month, but other special events. Like Becky said, we have one spot left for our trip to Japan through Adventures by Disney this coming October. We have a cruise out of New Orleans in February. I have more announcements coming up. You'll also be able to find out about other on-the-road events that I do as I travel throughout the country, actually the world this year, to speak. I try and do meetups on the road as well. And speaking of speaking, if I can come speak to your event, your conference, your business, your school, or work with you one-on-one or in small groups, visit LouMongello.com. There you can also find out about my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World, September 28th and 29th, which happens to be during Food and Wine Festival, by the way, where it is a 2-day conference and workshop where we help you turn what you love into what you do. And I'll also be opening up tickets for my weekend retreat this summer, where 10 entrepreneurs get together in a vacation home just outside Walt Disney World to really deep dive and work on you, your business, and your life. Tickets are being opened for the Nation this week. I'll open up for everybody else next week, so stay tuned for that. Again, thanks as always to Becky, not just for joining me on the show, but for being my partner, my sponsor, and really, I guess I could call her my friend because she is. If you want to get a free, no-obligation quote to any Disney or other destination on the planet, visit mousefantravel.com. Visit celebrationspress.com to subscribe to Celebrations Magazine. And all I ask, my friend, and you are my friend, whether we have met yet or not, is that if you like the show, please, to help spread the word, let others know about it. Tweet out, share on Facebook, anywhere you can, a link to this or your favorite episode. And if you could take just 10 seconds and leave a review over on iTunes, it's incredibly helpful and very much appreciated. I want to thank some recent reviewers like Sal Pal01, who says, "Lou's such a joy." Thank you. He has such a delightful, positive personality. It's a pleasure to hear how excited he is about one of my favorite topics, which is Disney. Such a great taste of Disney magic while I'm commuting, or taking care of chores at home. Thank you, Lou. And Disnut90 says it's the best podcast on Disney. Lou knows his stuff, all aspects of Disney, the parks, the characters, the movies, the man, and most importantly, Lou is always positive. I thought you were going to say it was about the food. He brings the same uplift to your spirit as visiting a Disney park. Sal, Disnut, thank you so much. Visit wdwradio.com/iTunes to find out how to leave a review or just search for WDW Radio in iTunes. Thank you so very much. I am so incredibly grateful to and for you. If there's some way that I can help you, please let me know. I hope to see you on Wednesday nights during the live show. And whatever it is, that thing that you are thinking about, that you want to do, that passion that you want to pursue, just take the first step. If you overcome, be brave and overcome that one small fear of taking that first step, I promise you it will give you the courage to take on the next and the next and the next. And it's a lot simpler to keep moving forward than it is just to get started. And again, if I can help you some way, please let me know. I hope that this is your best week ever. Thank you so very much. I love and appreciate you. See ya.
Hey Lou, this is Bethany from Frederick, Maryland. I just wanted to call and say that I love your show. I just started listening to it about, 7 months ago. And it was because of my boyfriend, actually. When I had heard that Illuminations was closing for good, I was devastated. That's my favorite thing about Epcot and any of the parks, really. It's my favorite thing. My family would just go every day when we would go down to Disney for like a week. It was great. And so I was crushed, and my wonderful boyfriend, who I love so much, decided that, hey, you're going to get to see it again. And he immediately got a hotel room. He was like, we're going. And that made me so happy. And I've been looking forward to it every day. We're going the end of February. And, I'm so excited. So we are going then, and, so I actually started listening to your show because of that, because I've been looking for a little bit of Disney every single day, and your show really delivers it. And so thank you for sharing Disney with us every day, not every day, but I've been listening to a lot of your show. So thank you, and keep doing awesome things. Bye.
Hi, Lou. It's Elizabeth again from the Boston area in Massachusetts, and I'm calling with very exciting news for, I was the one who called a few weeks ago and said that I was in the world for my sister's cheerleading competition, and we've been there multiple times for that reason, specifically for cheerleading competitions, and no one does them better than Disney and getting that experience in the ESPN zone. And I am so excited to be able to say that my own team I coached this weekend received a summit bid, and we'll be back in the world in May, the whole team getting to experience all the magic together. So for anyone else and any listeners out there who have kids who are all-star and competitive cheerleaders, good luck this season. I hope you all, at one point in your lives and in your athletes' careers, get to experience just how well Disney does cheerleading competition. So I'm so proud of my own athletes and everything we've accomplished. And now I have another excuse to travel down to the world, which is super awesome. Also, I listened to your Marvel Day Cruise review, and I am so mad I did not convince my friends to go with me. Actually heading to Europe instead for a trip. So I was outvoted. But yeah, it sounded like an awesome trip, and I hope to experience it one day in the future. So thanks so much, and talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, Lou. This is Jeff Richardson from Brookhaven, Mississippi. I just listened to your show about top 10 things to do when it's cold in Disney World. My favorite thing to do, and this may sound crazy, is to watch the fireworks show at night, because everybody just kind of snuggles, and it's really a neat family thing when you have to kind of tighten up and watch it when it's gotten colder, but that's a fun thing to do. But I did want to say, we've been there a couple times when cold really was bad. We went marathon week of 2018, and I think the highest high we had during the day was maybe 55, but we were prepared. When you're prepared, when you get there, you're in really great shape. Tim was talking about shopping when you're there. One year we went, it was actually mid-March 2017, when it never got above about 70 or 72 the other day, and we were unprepared, and it's hard in March at the parks to find sweatshirts. I think we had to really scrounge to find enough to wear. So I think we were colder that year with highs of 70 than we were in 2018 with highs of 50. So just tell all the listeners there, be prepared and get there and have a great time, but don't let the cold slow you down. We much prefer cold than we do to the real hot. So I think we're January visitors from here on out. Thank you, Lou. Love listening to the show. helps me pass time when I'm working around the house or driving around town. So we appreciate you so much. Thanks.
Hello, Lou Mangello, Darlene Nagy from West Seneca, New York, and I'm calling in with the countdown for the upcoming Meet of the Month is going to be at the Dockside by Rainforest Cafe in Disney Springs, and that is like a beautiful venue. We just walked past it a couple times when we stayed at Disney Saratoga Springs, and it was very nice and quaint. So you guys will have a wonderful time there. That is going to be on February 24th, Princess Marathon Weekend. The times were 3 to, I believe, 4:30, 3 p.m. to 4:30 on February 24th. There are 242 days until Japan. That adventure is going to be absolutely amazing. Can't wait to see what Lou gets Becky to eat this next trip. And then they have 358 days until that sail out of New Orleans. So you guys all have a wonderful, magical day. Love and hugs to everyone. Stay warm, and we'll see you real soon.